What happens when someone projects scarcity onto you, trying to make you feel small, powerless, unsupported, or financially limited? From a psycho-spiritual lens, the answer isn't to obsess over the person projecting it. It's to transform the experience into evidence that you no longer accept scarcity as your identity. And that is the alchemy. The projection. In narcissistic dynamics, envy can sometimes manifest as an attempt to diminish another person's achievements, confidence, independence, or potential. The message can sound like, "You're never going to make it. You don't have what it takes. Nobody is going to support you. You're going to lose everything." Whether those statements are spoken directly or communicated through manipulation, the psychological effect can be powerful. Repeated exposure to scarcity messaging can create self-doubt, threat sensitivity, and financial anxiety. But here's where the chosen one archetype flips the script. A projection is not a prophecy. Someone else's perception of your future does not determine your future. The alchemical reversal. The alchemist doesn't ask, "How do I prove them wrong?" The alchemist asks, "What can I build from this?" Fear becomes financial education. Rejection becomes networking. Isolation becomes independent creativity. Criticism becomes refinement. Scarcity becomes strategic discipline. And opposition becomes motivation to develop skills that create genuine economic independence. That's the transformation. Scarcity consciousness to resourcefulness, fear to preparation, dependency to self-reliance, confusion to strategy, rejection to redirection. And then something changes. You stop trying to look abundant. You start building abundance. You learn the skill. You launch the business. You improve your resume. You negotiate better. You save. You invest responsibly. You create multiple legitimate opportunities. You develop relationships with people who respect your vision. And suddenly the story changes. The person who wanted you to believe you have nothing becomes irrelevant to the person who has learned, "I can create." That's a much deeper form of wealth. The divine connection. And here's where the spiritual layer becomes important. Divine connections don't have to mean supernatural intervention. They can represent the people who appear in your life when you become aligned with your values, purpose, and growth. The mentor, the collaborator, the customer, the employer, the friend, the partner, the person who recognizes your gift, the person who opens a door because they genuinely believe in what you're building. Instead of obsessively asking, "Who is against me?" the higher question becomes, "Who is aligned with where I'm going?" That's how you redirect your attention from opposition toward opportunity. The narcissistic paradox. Here's the psychological irony. If someone becomes consumed with proving that another person is insignificant, they may accidentally reveal just how much attention they're giving that person's existence. Meanwhile, the person being targeted has a choice: become consumed with the conflict or become committed to the mission. The second choice is where the power shift occurs, not because the other person magically loses power, but because you stop donating your attention to the conflict. The real abundance. Abundance isn't simply money. It's skills, healthier relationships, knowledge, creativity, confidence, opportunity, community, discernment, financial literacy, emotional stability, freedom of choice. Money can be part of abundance, but sovereignty is being able to build, adapt, and continue moving even when circumstances change. The final alchemy. They say, you won't have enough. You learn how to create more. They say, nobody will support you. You build relationships with people who genuinely do. They say, your purpose won't work. You refine the purpose. They project scarcity. You cultivate resourcefulness. They attempt to make you doubt your future. You become more intentional about building it. And eventually you realize, their projection was never your destiny. It was simply another piece of material placed inside the furnace, and you decided what came out of the fire. Gold, not because someone else lost, but because you transformed. A scarcity projection is not a spiritual decree. Don't let another person's envy convince you that their perception is your destiny. Take the pressure and turn it into skills to strategy, to relationships, to opportunity, to abundance. Your greatest financial revenge isn't watching someone else struggle. It's becoming financially, emotionally, and spiritually independent enough that their opinion no longer determines your trajectory. If you're transforming a season of scarcity into a season of expansion, comment, "I choose abundance." Then share this with someone who is rebuilding their finances, relationships, confidence, and purpose from the ground up. The projection isn't the prophecy. You decide what the experience becomes, and that's alchemy in motion. Drop a comment if you're alchemizing the poverty spell illusion and firmly planted in your wealth timeline. Be sure to like, share, and follow your tribe of alchemists.